and welcome to this week's Artisan Wellbeing report. This week I want to talk about the idea of OJAS. I was writing in my newsletter for Ayurveda Plus World, and it was about the idea of gun control and talking about why people that own guns in the US are reluctant to give them up. So I'm on Facebook and I see this video, and it's of a guy that owns a gun, I think an AR-15, I don't know. Anyway, it's a big gun and he has it, an automatic rifle, and has it across his body, across his chest, and specifically across his heart. And as I was watching him, and he had this plea, and his whole point was that he was going to give up his gun because of the latest atrocity. So, good guy, thanks for that. But as I was observing his, the way that he had positioned the gun across himself, I thought that I saw the connection of the gun as his symbolic representation of OJAS, or immunity. So in Ayurveda, we consider immunity to be like the finest essence, that is the production of all the tissue layers. As we eat our food and it goes through the 7 tissue layers, each of them take around 5 days to create. The final product being of good quality tissue is OJAS, or immunity, and it's you kind of think of it in terms of the effect that OJAS has. So if someone says something to you and it bothers you instantly, then your immunity would be low because you're easily affected. So you can take that to a greater stance on actual pathogens and bugs affecting you versus some people that that never get sick. Okay, so this guy has a gun across his chest to protect him. If he doesn't have an alternative protective mechanism, or if society hasn't constructed a mechanism that makes them feel safe, since America has a really poor healthcare system, for example, you're going to look to other means, gross style means, to protect you. Ultimately, to us, faith is the ultimate protector, a belief in spirit and source and so forth. And if you have a good relationship there, then you trust that everything's going to be okay, right? So how do we think about that in terms of business? So people that create business create culture. And back in the day, in the Industrial Revolution, a lot of folks were afraid to lose their job. So they were afraid of the boss, afraid of a fearful God, a fearful authority figure in general. And so people operated out of a sense of fear. So this really wasn't bringing out the best in us. If you can create a culture where you feel protected, or your employees or the people that work for you feel protected, because there is a rhythm in place, there is a system in place. People don't have to second guess things. They know exactly how to deal with a particular issue because it's been organized. There's a listening mechanism similar to when you listen to your own body to understand if something is wrong, that you need to attend to it. So corporations are legally considered like people, and I think that that's actually kind of quite a cool thing. So even if you aren't incorporated and you are just a sole trader, and maybe you have only one other person working for you, or even if they're contractors, it is really important to set up a cultural structure that allows people to understand where they stand and how they feel heard. Because ultimately, when someone feels safe and someone feels like they know what's coming, they will perform better because they don't perform under the guise of fear. People that perform under the guise of fear grab a gun and put it across their chest. And yes, you won't have guns in the office, but you'll have other kind of weaponry in order to protect them, whether that weaponry come in the form of gossip or stealing or any other myriad of ways that you can look to have that sort of tussle of what's owed to you. Anyway, some food for thought on the idea of the immunity of an organization and how someone that comes into that space can either feel strong and able to give more, or they feel like they need to protect themselves, which has a withholding aspect to it. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I will see you next week. Bye.